Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate Salsa Gardening Challenge. I am Carrie with Park Seeds app From Seed to Spoon, and I hope that you all will grow along with me and follow along with me through this process as I start planting my seeds here today actually for my salsa garden, and follow along with me as I start my seeds, and I'll show you every step of the way throughout all the way to harvest. Throughout this process, we're going to be joined by 4 others all around the country from different locations, different zones, and they're going to be showing us tips and tricks and what they're doing at their time in their zone right now. So follow along to the very end of this video too to see what everybody in the other zones are doing with their salsa garden right now. So I'm here in Zone 7, Oklahoma City, and it is time for me to start my warm seeds indoors right now. Outside is still chilly. I can start planting some of my cool season crops, and I actually have some cool season crops up here started indoors as well that I will be transplanting outside. But today I'm going to get my seeds started inside. I start my seeds for my warm season crops, things like these peppers and tomatoes, all of those things that I'm gonna be putting in my salsa garden. I start those inside so that way I can get a head start on my growing season. So I'm here in my shop area, and this is where I have all of my growing spaces, and I'm going to get them started inside, and then we will come back out and set them out here. So come along with me. Okay, I'm back now in my living room, and I have my biodome set up, and I'm going to get my seeds started indoors now, and then I'm going to take these back out to the shop and get them under some grow lights and get them ready to go. I'm going to plant it in a 40 cell biodome right here, and this is just the bottom part of it, and then I'll put the dome on it whenever I get all the seeds planted out, so that way it can help keep a super humid environment. I absolutely love these biodomes. If you've never seen them before, you definitely need to check them out. They are super sturdy, and they can, I mean, honestly, they can withstand a lot. I did some funny tests in the garden this year with like chickens and dogs and cats, like running and jumping all over it, because it never fails that like a chicken will break into our seed starting area, or a cat even, or something like that. But they withstood it all, and it did amazing. So all I needed to do to get this biodome set up was to take my sponges here, and I soaked them in some warm water for a little bit, and then I moved them over into these holes over here to get them ready to go. I didn't need to worry about draining them or anything because I have this tray underneath which collects all the water, and that's where I'm going to be watering the seeds anyways once I get it all planted out. I'm going to make sure that I keep some water down below to keep these sponges moist to help encourage a really good environment for these seeds to grow. So I have all sorts of amazing seeds right here that I got from Park. I have 2 different types of tomatoes that I'm going to be growing. I'm going to be doing a Park's Whopper, which is going to be a vining tomato, which produces huge, amazing tomatoes. We grew it for the first time last year. It was awesome. And then I'm also going to be doing a Roma tomato, which is a bush tomato. So these 2, I'm going to go ahead and get these ones started. I'm going to be starting these ones out first. And the tomatoes are ones that I want to make sure do really well, because what good is salsa without tomatoes, right? So I'm going to make sure that I put 1 seed here in each hole that I have down here. And whenever I first started out, I was putting more than 1 seed in and having every single one sprout up for me, which was amazing. But I had to go back through and thin them down quite a bit. What you can do if you have these smaller seeds sometimes as well is to place one just gently on top of this sponge right here. So that way it's not super deep. So I have a bunch of different plant labels over here. I have a bunch of different colors because I like to do fun things like that. So I'm gonna go through and make sure I make labels for each one of them so I can make sure to keep them all straight. On to the next one. Okay, next I am going to do this Parks Whopper tomato now. Now this is the one that is the vining tomato. I wanted to do two different types of tomatoes just because while they're both amazing, they both have different unique things about them. So with the Roma tomato, it'll be great because, especially for salsa, because it'll produce all of its fruit at once and it'll give me a whole bunch of tomatoes that I need for salsa. So it'll be fantastic. Now this Parks Whopper it'll continue to grow, and it grows into a vine, and it will continue to grow and grow and grow. So you want to make sure you have plenty of space, but it will give you continual harvests of tomatoes. So that way you don't get all of them at once. You can continually eat on them through the season. So this one I'm going to be harvesting. I'll get a little bit of different flavor on the tomatoes with some of them. And then I will continue to get a bunch of tomatoes throughout the season as well. And again, I want to make sure that I write my label so that way I know which tomato is which, because they will look very similar in the beginning and it'll be hard to tell them apart. So next I'm gonna plant out my Parks Whopper jalapeno seeds. And again, what good is a salsa without some peppers, right? So I chose to do a Whopper jalapeno. So this is gonna give me some huge jalapenos. I'm super excited about them. We've grown these in the past and they have done really well and produced a whole bunch of jalapenos for us. It was absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to grow them again. Next, I'm going to be growing a different variety of peppers. I'm going to be doing a bell pepper. And the one that I chose to do is a sweet rainbow blend. This one looks so fun. It has so many different colors in it. I bet the kids are going to absolutely love growing these. Of course, I am too, but the kids will especially love it also. And then next I'm going to be doing some chives. Since the timing was a little bit off for starting some onions by seed indoors, I wanted to still have that flavor going without having to deal with the onions and being in the wrong time frame and all of that. I might get some transplants here at a later time and put some out, but I'm going to go ahead and start some chives also because it'll give me a great flavor for it, and I absolutely love it, and it gives you an amazing onion garlic flavor. I really like them a lot, and if you've never tried their flowers before, the flowers are super beautiful and they also taste incredible. So these chives are small little seeds. I don't know if you can kind of see my hand there. They're little tiny seeds. They're even smaller than these other ones. So when I plant these out, I'm gonna still do one in the hole, but I'm gonna also put one off to the side again, just in case that hole is just a little too deep for it. Since it is such a little tiny seed, I wanna make sure that it does okay. And then next we're gonna do some cilantro. I absolutely love cilantro. I feel like sometimes it gets a bad rap. A lot of people don't really like it. I feel like we did a poll one time. It was really funny as a story as to who liked cilantro and if they thought it tasted like soap. Because it's really interesting because some people actually think that cilantro tastes like soap. I definitely don't get that. I think it tastes amazing. I love the flavor of cilantro and I feel like it adds a lot to salsa. So I understand if you don't want to grow cilantro and if you want to grow something in replacement of this, I completely understand. My feelings won't be hurt. There's a lot of other great plants out there that you can grow to put in to put into your salsa. You can do different varieties of peppers. I mean, we didn't do like a sweet pepper, banana pepper. I love banana peppers. But there's a lot of different things that you can go about planting if you wanted to skip out on the cilantro part. But cilantro is something that is amazing to grow, and it is one that's super simple too. So if you have somebody that likes it, I highly recommend you grow it. And I'm doing a long-standing cilantro also from Park Seed, because cilantro is typically a cool season crop. So it doesn't love the heat, which all of the other ones really like the heat, except cilantro. So I am doing a long-standing one, which should hopefully withstand this weather that we get. And I'm gonna try and put it in the garden, kind of arranged in a way that it can get a little bit of afternoon sun from the tomato plant. So that way it can kind of extend that growing season and I can still use it in my salsa. And then I wanted to make sure that we included several companion plants out in the garden with my salsa plants out there, because I wanted to make sure that they stay protected against the pests that are out there. So one of my favorite companion plants, well, both of these are my favorite, but one of them right here is the marigolds. Marigolds do incredible things for tomatoes. They are best friends, and marigolds can really help to deter a number of pests, as well as just bringing in beneficial insects and pollinators and stuff like that. So I always love to have marigold around. And I am planting a Parks Whopper marigold. If you haven't seen this one before, you really need to, and you should definitely try growing it because it is incredibly beautiful. You will have never seen blooms quite this huge on a marigold before. You definitely need to try it out. Now, last but certainly not least, I am doing a basil, and basil is really good companion plant, especially for these tomatoes and peppers. They can help in a number of ways, again, with some pests, as well as just improving the flavor of the plants next to it. Basil can really help a lot. And I've also seen recipes for salsa with basil in it too. So I am curious to try out some new recipes for salsa that maybe include some basil. So I am super excited about that. So this variety of basil that I'm doing is just the standard sweet basil from Park. Typically my favorite basil is the cinnamon basil, but I thought if I was going to try and do it with my salsa, I thought I might stick with one of these, and I'll grow cinnamon elsewhere. Okay, so I got all of these seeds planted out today, and I'm going to go through on the From Seed to Spoon app, and I'm going to go to the My Garden section, and I'm going to log that I started these seeds today. So that way I can go in and it'll tell me exactly when I should expect these seeds to sprout, and also even when you can expect to start harvesting from them too. And then I can go through, I can keep track if there's anything that happens, if I water them, if I see pests, if I notice anything at all, I can take notes on them, and I can just follow through the course of their growing season just to keep track of them better on a closer eye. And if you're anything like me, I always forget when I started things. I always have to look back and hope that I made a video about it because I can never remember when I planted it. So since there's been this My Garden tab, it has been so helpful because I just look back on there and I'm like, okay, when did I plant that? When can I harvest it? Okay, the date's right there. So it's super helpful. So I'm gonna go get the lid for this biodome and then take it back out to the shop area to get it under some grow lights. Okay, I'm back out in my seed starting area, and I actually had a heat mat down here. So I went ahead and plugged that one in, and I put this biodome on top of that. So that way it can be heated, and you don't necessarily have to have a heat mat for germinating these, but it does help, especially with things like tomatoes and peppers, especially because peppers can have a really long germination time if they aren't warm, which it definitely is not warm here right now. So having this heat mat below it will really help to encourage the germination process, and it'll make it just speed up and go a lot faster. And then I'm gonna keep that dome on top of it while all of those seeds germinate. And then once they germinate, I'm gonna open up those lids up on top once I first start to see them sprout. and just to give it just a little bit of circulation. And then I'm gonna remove that lid the next day to come in, just because it will help to decrease the moisture up on the very top level. It'll help to decrease things like fungus, mold issues, things like that. So I'm gonna let it do its thing, and then I'm gonna be back here in a couple of days to remove the lid and lower the lights. Right now the lights are sitting above the dome, but I'm going to be lowering them once I remove that dome to just above those seedlings. So that way it can get as much light as possible without creating leggy plants. So make sure that you follow along with us as we continue growing these plants. And I'm gonna be posting weekly updates and showing you every step of the way. So every time I come out here, I'm gonna make a video and show you what I'm doing, what I'm checking for, and how these plants are doing. So that way you can grow along with me. And I hope that it helps you during your process of growing your own salsa. So this is what I'm doing this week in Zone 7. I got all of my seeds started this week. Very excited. They're under some lights. Let's check in with the other growing zones and see what they're doing this week. So let's check in first with Wendy and see what she's doing over in Zone 10.
Hi everyone, I'm Wendy Fan. I'm in Zone 10. I'm so excited to start out these salsa seeds with my gardening friends using the Biodome. I got 8 different varieties of seeds: chives, hybrid peppers, which are sweet peppers that grow really well in containers, garlic chives, cardinal basil, which is going to be so beautiful, jalapeno. I'm really excited about this one. It's a jalapeno, but you can grow it in a small pot. Hybrid tomatoes. These are cherry fountain cascades over your garden bed. It's going to be so beautiful and tasty. Cilantro and the Whopper marigold. I got my bowl of lukewarm water. I'm just going to drop these bile sponges in and let them sit for about 15 minutes. Let's put these in the Biodome. Let me fill the Biodome up and I'll get right back to you. Okay, here are my jalapeno. Just drop it into the holes. I'm just going to put some water in. The Biodome is on top of the heating mat and under the grow light. That's it. I'll give you guys some updates soon.
I can't wait to see how Wendy's seeds all turn out after starting. I'm very excited for her. Let's work our way down and start next with Zone 8. We have Katie with Katie's crops over in South Carolina.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie.
Hi, I'm Lily and I'm 6.5.
And Lily is going to be my helper as we get ready to start the salsa challenge. So we are going to start planting our seeds. We have our Biodome here and we are going to get planting. Are you excited?
Yes.
Good.
Then we put it here. That's easy. It is easy.
My friends and I are going to help me plant. So everybody, you want to share what seeds you have? What do you have?
I have jalapeno pepper.
Lily, what do you have?
I have rainbow peppers. I have tomatoes. Yep.
Perfect.
I put one in there.
Good job.
I put one right in there.
That's so amazing that Katie got all of her kids there at her program involved in growing their own salsa. I can't wait to see how their salsa turns out over there. Let's check in next in Zone 7. We have Lanny with Gingerfoot Garden.
Hey guys, Sunny here from Gingerfoot Garden. Zone 7, I was able to sow my seeds on my Biodome last March 1st. And I will be posting my update on my own page on Instagram, Gingerfruit Garden. If you guys want to follow, it will be up on my page soon. See you there.
And next we have Zone 6A, and this is Bethany, the Chicago gardener.
Hello, so I am excited to be joining the Salsa Challenge this year. Now, I am Bethany from Chicago Gardener, and I am in Zone 6A. So since it is the end of February right now, I'm not actually starting any of the seeds yet. I think I'm gonna start them in about mid-March in my Biodome, but I am kind of getting things prepared and figuring out where I'm gonna plant all of these seeds once I move them outside. So I'm gonna be using smart pots. And I have a bunch of 7-gallon grow bags here. I also have a 30-gallon grow bag that I think I'm going to put the Whopper tomato in when I grow that. But I figured I'd go through the seeds quickly that I have. So I have 2 types of tomatoes, organic tomato Roma, and then the Whopper tomato hybrid. 2 types of peppers, pepper hybrid, the Whopper jalapeno, and then the sweet rainbow blend. And then I have marigolds for companion planting with the tomatoes and the peppers. And then for herbs, I have basil. I also have some cilantro, and then I have chives. And I'm excited for all of these. I think I've grown a lot of these varieties before, but I've never grown chives at all. And I'm excited to try the Whopper varieties too. I'm really excited for everything, but like I said, it's still a few more weeks until I actually start to sow my seeds, but by the next time we have an update, I should have some seeds started.
So everybody's growing area is going to be slightly different, and they're going to have their own way of growing things. And you may have your own unique way of growing things as well. And how you do it doesn't matter. It's the end product that matters. And I am so excited to grow salsa with all of you. I hope that you continue to follow along with us throughout this process as we grow all the way from seed to spoon with the salsa. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And I will see you all next week.